Well, here we are. It is Friday, January 9th, 2026, and I hope all of you are having a good first part of the new year. It's warmed up here this week. Actually, we're at 43 degrees today, which is rather unusual for around here, but it goes up and down. We get all kinds of different weather during the winter. Any rate, here we are. A couple of things I want to go through first. I hope you watched the video we did earlier this week on fakes and copies and so forth. And it is a huge problem, as you all know. And I'm hoping that many of you watch it and understand what it is the point of that video was, which was to say that if you see a lot of high-end things in one sale and it's not an important auction house, be very suspicious. And the other aspect is as I mentioned in that video, the reproductions of China trade porcelains is becoming a real problem. And I mentioned this bowl. It's on Live Auctioneers right now. It's coming up for sale in just a few days, and it's one of these sort of Hong type bowls. And I talked about it in the video, but I'm going to go over it quickly again because there's another example that came up just after that. This is a reproduction. This is a copy. There's a number of reasons why. One, the decorations aren't great on it, for one thing. The smearing of the gilding in here is very poorly done. The foot rim, somebody commented, they said, well, why don't you go through and explain why it's not an authentic example? Those of you who've been watching for a while know that I've done a number of videos on examining and trying to authenticate things that you might find interesting, spotting authentic examples and so forth. And if you haven't seen them, go look at them. I think they're pretty helpful. We did a whole new series of them just a little over a year and a half ago, I think it was. But this is a copy, and when you look at it carefully, you'll know it right away. The things to look for in authentication, one of the first things you want to always check are the colors. Are the colors that were available at the time that the piece was supposed to have been made? There are lots of colors that are used today in Chinese porcelains that they didn't have access to back in those days. Or the way they use them today is inappropriate. They're too thickly applied. They're not evenly painted, layered. Things that took time are often skipped on the reproductions because they don't have the luxury of time like they used to. For example, with these birds here, they're done in the correct style, but if you notice the way the birds are decorated, there's no detail in them at all. They're just quickly drawn on there. The wings are added, and that's the end of it. It's not a good execution. Let's put it that way. It's something you have to look at a lot of examples of, and it takes a long time. The way these enamels here are applied were inappropriate completely. They're pulled up. They're too thick. It's almost like they beat it up on the surface. They're not layered in, done in beautiful layers that showed fine workmanship. They're just dabbed on in clumps. That's not what you want to see. At any rate, there's a whole lot of things wrong with it. Plus, the foot rim is the wrong shape. It's flat and so forth. So keep that in mind. And then over to this. This is one of the auction houses that we went over the other day. And when you see an auction house that has listings like this up, just endless sales with hundreds and hundreds of things in them, run for your life. They're not going to sell anything authentic. But one of the pieces that popped up in here under Chinese export was this. All right, this is a reproduction, and it's very good looking. It's very convincing in many ways, but again, it falls apart on the enameling, and the composition isn't quite right either. The way the wall is done and so forth. You notice they left the wall completely blank. The colors, the greens are off. There's a lot wrong with this plate, but the general idea is quite good, and this is only the beginning of these that we're starting to see a lot of, and I suspect they're going to get better and better as we go along. But again, you see that sort of thick red enamel here, the way those are done. There's no layering, there's no brushwork. It's just droplets of red, and some of the colors are off. You notice that the overglazed blue here is sort of just smeared on. There's not a refined amount of brushwork done to it. This scroll pattern done in iron brown isn't something you typically see. Should have been done in gilded. It should have been gilded in, and so forth. But notice the lady's hair. We talk about this often, the gilding in the hair. They're starting to get that pretty good, and they're actually drawing the faces properly. All right, this is pretty much in line with how the faces should look, but the other areas are wrong. Also, the use of this black with gold on it's a bit odd, to put it mildly. Anyway, there's a lot wrong with this, but the point is that they are making these now because these Chinese export pieces are becoming popular. They're starting to get some real traction in the market, and they're going to copy them. Of course, the other thing that really tips off that these people are out of their minds is the estimate is $85,000 to $150,000. Even if this was a Yongchen or early Qianlong dish, it wouldn't be worth anywhere near that. It measures 22 centimeters wide, so it's only about 9 inches in width. And even if authentic, it's a $600 to $800 dish on its best day. So it'll give you some idea of how crazy they are. But this is just the beginning, and I suspect if the antique American furniture market and the European markets start to pick up in the coming year, which I think they're probably going to do, we're starting to see it already. You're going to see a lot more interest in China trade wares because the people that buy that stuff buy this stuff. And I did a video. Those that you haven't seen it, I did do another video over this week on the Patreon side, and went through a lot of this and sort of the economics of what's going on in quite a bit of detail. I hope you watched it. But the next thing I want to show is this. This was something I talked about the other day as well on Patreon. We talked about this clothes press that was sold at John McGinnis's. We mentioned that when it was coming up, it was sold back on New Year's Day, January 1st. And it's an extremely fine and rare example. There's a similar copy to it, or not a copy, but a similar example made in Boston during the 18th century, these block front drawers that's in the Museum of Fine Arts. All right, and this is a really good chest for all kinds of reasons. It's beautiful. It's a rare form. The pediment on it is quite attractive, and so forth. It's got the original flame finial urns on the top 3 of them, and I suspect they're original. Anyway, this sold for about $520,000 against a $30,000 to $60,000 estimate. Which, given the recent history of the last 15 or 20 years of American furniture, it wouldn't have shocked me if it brought that, because we've seen some really soft prices. But what this tells me is that there's a lot of interest coming back into this market. All right, now in the 1990s, had this come up for sale, it would have sold probably for more. Probably would have sold for $800,000 to $1,000,001 at that time. All right, but a few years ago, I think this would have sold for probably half of what it brought in this go around here. And the reason is there's a lot of money in the market. The economy is very, very good. The retail pocket money, the money that people have available to spend on luxury goods is going to be increasing, I think, a great deal this year with the giant refunds that are coming to a lot of people because they kept the tax cuts. And the economy overall in the last quarter of this past year grew by over 4%. 4.3%, when compared to England and the EU, which grew at less than half of that amount, 1.3% or something like that. Their economy is a mess. So if you're going over to Europe in the next year or so, you might find some awfully good buys in the English in the European market when it comes to antiques, because there's not a lot of loose money around over there. And in America, I think you're going to see a fair bit of available spending money for luxury goods, and people are starting to get interested in it too, because it's much nicer than the things that you typically see from IKEA and these stores that people have made so popular in the last 20 years. People, I think, are getting sick of it. They want nice things in their houses. It's where you live, so why not have nice things around you? It's a great way to go about things. All right. And other things that did well in the last few days was this. This was also on January 1st. This were those watercolors that sold at Nadau's. We talked about them quite a bit prior to the sale. And I covered this also on the Patreon video, because it's an indicator of, again, interest in China trade things. These were probably from the Sun Qua workshops. They said they were, so it may mean they have one of the Sun Qua labels or something. But anyway, this wonderful floral set that we previewed a few weeks ago did very well. The buyer's premium included. The set brought about $13,000, but wonderfully decorated, nicely framed, very colorful, good things. And the other set did this. It brought about $130,000. This was the watercolors on paper, not on but on or actual paper instead of pith paper, which is a fibrous material cut out of trees that they painted on. These did very well. The estimate was 15 to 25,000, which I didn't think was at all unreasonable, obviously. And these ended up selling for $130,000. And these are the porcelain making paintings. These are extremely rare. It's a complete set. There are some albums of these in the British Museum. The Peabody Essex Museum has similar books of these. They are very hard to find, and this was a wonderful set and beautifully done. 95,000 plus the premium of 30%. I believe the premium is 30%. Hold on. Yeah, buyer's premium 30%. All right. And the other set, there was another set of paintings in this sale also that did very well. I should point that out. There was another set, I think it was 4, that did quite well. So it shows that there's some real interest in this material. All right. And Chris, as a quick reminder, this is the sale, the American Furniture Sale, because we were talking about American furniture a minute ago. New England Auctions. We did the preview on this a couple of weeks ago. This is coming up in just the next 5 days at Fred Giampitro's in Connecticut. Some wonderful things in there. And the things are getting a lot of interest. I will tell you this, because it's very, very good stuff. And don't be discouraged if you're looking at great things and you see there's a lot of people interested in it. The reason there's a lot of people interested because it's really good material. And if you go through these sales that he's got set up coming up, the number of watchers is always a very good indicator of where the market is. And this bureau, for example, which was an 18th century Queen Anne bureau that was redecorated in the 19th century with these the white decoration, the vines and so forth, has 59 people watching it, and the sale's not for another 5 days. There's one lot on there, the bronze owls. They've got 140 watchers. 150, something like that, some crazy number, because it's very good material. And if you like to buy the best, you like to buy really, really good things, I would urge you to go to check out this sale that's coming up on the 14th and the 15th in Connecticut. Good material from very long-standing, important American furniture collectors, American folk art, all that stuff. It's great stuff. So do check it out. Now, other things that have popped up this week, because we for the last month, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, there were sort of dwindling numbers of sales coming along because of the holiday. There were a couple of auctions, and some of them did pretty well, but there wasn't a lot of material floating around because people are getting ready to take off for the holidays. They've got other things on their mind. We've talked about it many, many times, and now it's starting to come back as it always does every January. This is a sale on January 18th with a very nice Chinese export bowl on it. This is at Lakeland Antique Bazaar down in Lakeland, Florida. And they have auctions all the time. They're always doing auctions. They must have an estate clean-out business on some scale. But they every once in a while, they get some pretty good things. And this is a very nice China Trade punch bowl. And if it looks familiar, there's a very similar punch bowl on the cover of one of the books of the China Trade. I think it's one of Eleanor Gordon's books. But this is the bird and flower motif. This is a wonderful bowl. It's about 14 inches in diameter. Very good looking China Trade bowl. And again, when we were talking before about that reproduction, how the red enamels are done, this is how they're supposed to be done. Notice the shading, how they go from dark to light. That sort of shading you don't see on the reproductions. All right, because it's very, very time consuming to do this kind of work. There's a very gentle touch, very patient touch. You have to have just the right amount of enamel on the brush to make it work, and a very nice, deep, rich cobalt color. This is a good looking bowl. Check and get a condition report, of course, and all that. But I think the estimate is pretty wide ranging, $650 to $6,500. All right, it should bring probably in the $1,400 to $1,800 range. Right now, I'm the only person watching it. I think this sale just came up in the last couple of days, so it is an opportunity. And they're dating this as a 19th century bowl, and they're calling it Chinese or Japanese. It's obviously Chinese, and the way they've got it described, it may not pick up a lot of watchers. Because just this very large export bowl, because they didn't know whether it was Chinese or Japanese. It's Chinese. It was made around 1770, not the 19th century. It was made during the 18th century. Okay, and it's 12 and a half inches diameter. There's the width of it. I thought it was 14. It's a little smaller than that, but it's still a fairly rare type. And if you like unusual China trade bowls, you might pick this up very reasonably. $650, the opening bid, is a very fair starting price for that. It should bring much more. It should bring 3 times that. The other thing I wanted to mention, those who like Kutani ware, this is a really interesting piece of Kutani that popped up, and this is at Lewis and May's Antiques Auction in Houston, Texas. And it's the only Asian thing in their whole sale, as far as I can tell. It's 14 inches in diameter, but the detail and decoration on it is really quite good. Now, this is a 19th century bowl. It's what they call Kutani Revival example, but it's wonderfully decorated. It's got beautiful decoration on it. Probably early 19th century. Here's the bottom of it. It's on porcelain that looks a lot like stoneware. It's got the Kutani mark in the middle. This is a very nice piece of Kutani ware, though. It's a beautiful example. So do check that out and give it a shot. This opening bid is $350, which is pretty reasonable for that. Remember, this is a big piece of Kutani. It's 14 inches in diameter. All right. It's, what do they got? The depth they're saying is 14 inches. I think that's a typo. Obviously, it's not 14 inches deep. It's probably about 3 inches in height, so forth. All right. The other thing that turned up was that Stair Gallery is back. They've got 3 or 4 sales coming up. This one is already posted. They don't post. I've noticed at Stair Gallery they often don't post the next sale until this sale is about to happen or is done. They don't want you distracted, I think, is the idea. And they space them out pretty well, unless they've got a 2 or 3 day, running all, one after the other. But they've got some Chinese things coming up on the 15th of this month in about a week from now, right? 6 days from now. And one of them is this, a rather nice Kangxi period blue and white jar. It measures 12 inches in height. Looks like it's in good condition. It's a fairly stock pattern. The decoration on it, this is a pattern we see on lots of Kangxi wares, platters, chargers, all that sort of thing. They did them on jars and on tea canisters and so forth. But this is a perfectly good blue and white jar. It would make a wonderful table lamp, and you wouldn't have to drill it to turn it into a lamp to decorate a room in your house. The estimate is reasonable, $700 to $900 with a $250 opening bid. So you might want to go after that. The other thing that's in this sale is awfully nice, and I don't know why they didn't identify. This is an Indian giltwood carved box. A wonderful looking thing with the pairing of elephants on it and so forth. It appears to be from India, as far as I can tell by the workmanship on it. Initially, I thought it might be from Burma or someplace, but I don't think so. I think this is probably Indian. It's got nice iron handles on it. It's a good-looking box, and it measures 4 by 12 by 8 inches, so it's pretty good size. Nice table box. Low estimate, $200 to $400, $75 opening bid, and nobody's watching it as of yet. I just happened to spot this earlier today, and again, this is on the sale on the 15th. This could be a great buy if you like Anglo-Indian and giltwood carvings from Asia. This is a very interesting box, and it does appear to date to probably about 1860 to 1880, somewhere in there. All right. The other thing that's in the sale is this giant jar. This thing is a monster. At first I saw it, I thought it was maybe, 10 or 12 or 14 inches tall or something. This jar is 28 inches in height. It's 12 inches across, and it's got that wonderful famille jaune ground, the yellow ground, famille rose enamels. Very nicely done. And this is a second half of the 19th century pot, but it's very well done. It's almost like Straits porcelain. It's got that sort of festive coloration to it that you see on Straits and on your Straits pieces, and it's got these nice mask handles on it. I know somebody's going to text me and say it is an Onion Straits piece. People go back and forth on these, but anyway, I like this a lot. I think it's very, very attractive. It's got 4 lion mask handles on it with painted rings, which is a great effect. And the estimate is very reasonable. $700 to $900 with a $250 opening bid. It's going to go for more than that, I suspect. I suspect it'll bring $1,600 to $2,500, somewhere in there anyway. But it's a beautiful piece of porcelain. It's a big one, 28 inches high. So if you've got a spot in your house, you've been looking for a large porcelain jar to go in, and it has its lid, which is almost a miracle. But get a condition report, see if it's had any restoration to it and so forth. Maybe it has. I can't tell from the pictures. It doesn't appear to have, but it's a nice thing. It's a very, very nice thing. And then there's this in the sale also, a Junyao type bowl. They didn't date it. It appears to be Ming, from what as best I can tell from this, and the glaze, the edge of the bowl. I don't think it's a Sung example or anything like that. I think it's a later type. There it is, and you look at the way the foot is trimmed with this beveled sort of edge off of it, and the way this is done. It looks like a Ming example to me more than anything else, but it's a perfectly respectable bowl, and the estimate on it's very reasonable. $600 to $800 starting price. It measures about what is it, 6 3/8 inches in diameter, but it's a nice solid bowl, and it's got a very, very pretty soft blue in it. It's a nice example. And this is at Stair Gallery, again, on the 15th of January. So you have some time, go look it up. It'll be all the stuff will be on the global pages by tomorrow. And then there's this Liu Hai figure. This is a nice one. It's a 19th century example, but it's big. It's 10 inches tall, and he's got a great expression on his face. I always look at the faces on these to see if the artist nailed it. The artist nailed it here. This guy looks very happy, and he's holding up a coin, a cash symbol, for good luck for the new year. So it might be a great way to start the year by buying this. And he's standing on sort of a rocky bottom. There's a three-legged toad coming out of the ground, which is also a very auspicious symbol, as you all know, that the three-legged toads emitted. The story was they were able to detect good people from bad people, and they emitted a smoke from their mouth. And if the person is bad, it would make him sick and angry and feel terrible. And if he's a good person, the scent would make him feel joyous. And here's the three-legged toad down here, and there he is, and he's holding up a cash symbol for good luck in the new year, and he looks very happy. So it's got a lot going on here. There's a lot going on in this, and his outfit has these wonderful floral decorations, like floral pinwheels on them and so forth. It's a nice looking thing, a nice piece of porcelain. It does appear to be 19th century. Estimated $300 to $500, which is more than reasonable. $100 opening bid. It's a good statue. It's a good figure. If you've been looking for one, that's a good one. And then there's a pair of Famille Rose 18th century export lamps, lamp bases. These are big though. These are 21 inches tall. These are large ones. These are not the 12-inch ones. These are 21 inches in height, apparently. They look awfully good. What's the let's see here. Okay, no, wait a minute. No, I was wrong. The lamp height overall is. I was going to say these are those great big ones. No, these are 11 inches tall. 11. So they are the smaller ones. I correct myself. 11 and a half inches. They're still very nice, and I like the baskets. We see these baskets often on 18th century Chinese export pieces with the gilt basket down below and all the flowers coming out of it, and it has the porcelain appliques, the raised work all over it here, and around this side on both pieces. And they look to be in good shape. So the overall height is 21 inches. That's a good height for living room table lamps. I was thinking if they're really that big, God, you'd need an awfully big room to put those in. But at any rate, these are extremely nice. And the estimate is nothing, $500 to $700, $150 opening bid. They are going to bring more than that. They will bring $1,000 to $1,500 most likely. But we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Leave bids. I always say it. Leave a bid. Don't be afraid to leave bids on things because you never know. You never know. If you sell a sale, it's got a bunch of good things in it. Carpet bomb the sale with a bunch of low bids. You have nothing to lose, and if you get anything for those low prices, you've got a great value on your hands, and then you have more money to buy other things. That's the idea. All right. The less you spend, the more you have to spend somewhere else on something else down the road. All right. Now, over to this. This sale is coming up. If you like Chinese export, this is at Blue Rose Estate Sales in Pass Christian, I guess that's Pass Christian, Missouri. These are identified on here. There's several pairs of these plates in this sale. It's on January 24th. There's several pairs of these plates. They're advertising them as Japanese Imari style porcelain plates. Okay, these are Chinese, and they look fine to me as Chinese Imari from the 18th century, from what I can tell. All right. There are the foot rims. They look good. But these are Chinese, not Japanese. All right. And I suspect they may get missed. They may go under the radar. There are pairs of them. They measure 8 3/4 inches in diameter. You want to get a condition report for them to make sure they're okay. But there's 2 or 3 pairs of these in this sale. So you've been looking for some nice Chinese Imari, and you might get them for a great price. You might look at them here. Right now, the starting price is $150 for the pair, which is more than reasonable. They have no bids yet. The sale is on the 24th, okay? And this is at Blue Rose Estate Sales, and they're on Live Auctioneers in Missouri. All right, and now over to this. I mentioned this, I might have mentioned this the other day or a couple of weeks ago. This is a reminder. The Austrian Rug Company over in Vienna, Austria, have a rug sale coming up. They've got some awfully nice looking pieces in it. One of them is if those of you that like old rugs, you know what this is. It's a wonderful Ursari Bashir Choual. And what's interesting about this Choual is Chouals are saddlebags, basically, and they'll have a back on them. This would be the front of it. You have pairs of them on animals as you migrate your sheep herds from winter grazing to summer grazing, or you're moving around. This is what it's basically their form of Louis Vuitton luggage, I guess. But this bag face is in extraordinarily good condition, and it is a big one. It is 7 feet long and 3 foot 3 inches wide. That's an unusually large cargo or storage bag. Most of them are much half that size. This is a great big one. The estimate is 600 to 800 euros, which I think is very, very reasonable. And they are dating it to the late 19th century, which sounds right. But it looks like it's never had any wear at all. I don't see any sign of wear or anything on this thing. It is in beautiful condition. The colors are all natural. It's a wonderful old bag. And they have, incidentally, I've dealt with them before. They have very reasonable shipping rates from Vienna, because they do their own shipping. And I emailed them at one point about something to get shipped from there, and it was reasonable. It was like $90 for a big saddle bag that I was interested in. I didn't end up getting it, but I wanted to know what the shipping would be because they do it themselves, and I thought it was very reasonable. So don't be afraid to try it, but always ask what the shipping is going to be. The other thing that's in this sale is this. This is another Asari piece, Central Asian piece, a really, really nice Asari main carpet. And I believe this sale is all unreserved, incidentally. I should point that out. I believe this is the unreserved sale. Let me just double check it. No reserve. There it is. Yeah, this sale is unreserved. So there's no reserve to fight if you start bidding. All right, this has an 8 to 1,200 euro estimate. It has a 400 euro opening bid. This is a very, very nice carpet. And as you can see, the colors are beautiful. They're crisp. The carpet appears to be in beautiful condition. It is a 19th century example, but it appears to be in great condition from what I can tell. And notice the colors, they glow. They're beautiful, beautiful colors. Central Asian rug, very lovely example. And this is something to go on the floor. It's a good sized rug. Measures 5'8" by 7'9". It's a gem. It's a gem. And I think the estimate is very low. We'll see. To me, it looks like a $2,000 or £3,000 rug, but you never know. Like I said, leave a bid. If you can get it for under €1,000, you stole it. It's a bargain. All right. And then this is another rug that's coming up. Material Culture down in Pennsylvania's got a sale coming up on the 28th of January. We maybe go back and take another look at this sale because there's a number of Turkoman things in here. But in this sale is this. This is a Bijar sampler Wigera. They're known as Wigueras. And a Wiguera, those that you don't collect rugs or know much about them, this is basically it's a sample rug showing potential customers or show the weavers showing off their skills in all the different patterns and styles they can do. And if you look at this carefully, you'll see that you have well, I can hear this is the medallion that would go in the center of the rug. We often see those on Bijars. They often have camel grounds, so they're showing how well they do camel grounds. And then you have this very nice yellow and lattice vine pattern inner border going down here to the bottom. So they're showing off how good their dyes are. They're showing off their weaving ability. They're showing off the patterns that they're able to do and so forth. This measures 3'4" by 5'6". It's a very nice one. I've seen many of them over the years, and Bijars were known in particular. The Bijar weavers were known in particular for doing Wigueras. but this is a very, very good looking one. It is a 19th century example. They dated to about 1890. It's a nifty piece, and the estimate is 1,000 to 1,500, which is about right. Could go for a little more. $600 opening bid, but a nice piece of Persian workmanship. All right, and this is the rest of the sale. There's all kinds of tribal stuff in here. There's also a very nice Chinese throne seat. There it is, right here. This Fu Lion throne seat cover. I like this a lot. I like the Fu Lion in the middle, and nice soft yellow wools. So forth, estimated at $400 to $800. Also, some other Chinese rugs, and there's some nice Tibetan rugs in there. If you're a Tibetan rug fan, you might want to go and look at it. There's some nice looking Tibetan pieces and some Tibetan saddlebags. But this is a nice looking one, $400 to $800. So go chase that. And also in this sale, this is also a material culture, right? Yeah. Those of you that have always wanted to own a Salor Chewal, as you know, Salor pieces bring top money, the old ones, especially the ones from this one, they're dating it to about 1800. Now, if this rug didn't have the split and the wear to the edges, would this saddleback, not a rug, it's a cheval, would probably be worth $20,000-$30,000, maybe more. They are exceedingly rare. They don't turn up very often. We've seen one or two, as you know, when we cover these sales over the last year or two, either at Grogan's or Material Culture or over Rip and Boswell's or the Austrian Rug Company, or all the usual suspects in the rug auction world that sell good things. You know what this would be worth if it was perfect. But if you're not in that price range, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a great Salor Cheval, this is a good one. This is a good one. It's a 16 goals example, which is quite unusual. It's not perfect by a long shot, but it's a great textile. The estimate's very reasonable, $4,000 to $6,000 with a $2,000 opening bid. But and it dates to 1800. And if you collect rugs, that's very old for a rug. Rugs get worn out, saddlebags get worn out and discarded and so forth. So that's a good example. Other things that are coming along, there's this, a nice big, they're just calling it a large Asian hand-painted porcelain charger, signed on wooden base. And this is at Lake Lanier. Oh, this is Lake Lanier Antiques again. On February 3rd. This is an 18th century dish that's been clobbered in the West. And clobbering is getting a blue and white piece, for example, from China. It was a very popular thing they did up in the Netherlands. And the decorators in the Netherlands, the decorators in Europe and England would add enamels to them after they arrived to make them more colorful and more interesting. And there's a whole community of people out there that collect clobber wares. Well, this is a clobbered example. And it does appear to be an old one. It looks like it's in rather good condition. It looks like an 18th century dish to me. And here it is. And they've added this sort of silly mark that they often did on clobbered pieces. They would sort of write on looks like a Chinese seal. It's not. It's gibberish. But they would do them in Europe to make them look authentic. At any rate, this is estimated at $350 to $450. It's 14.7 inches in diameter, so it's a pretty good size. It's actually a basin, technically. $350 to $500, $175 opening bid, and I'm the only person watching it as of right now. This sale is on February 3rd at Lake Lanier Antiques, this is in Gainesville, Georgia. Excuse me. It's another one, another company. All right, so check that out. Also coming up, Christie's in February has a bunch of China trade porcelains coming along. Armorial wares, some good armorial pieces like this. All right, reticulated and so forth. There's a number of sets. And again, as I was saying at the beginning, with the sort of renewed interest in Chinese in American furniture, and there's been a renewed interest in China trade wares, I think you're going to see some of these pieces do pretty well. But these are awfully nice memorial examples, and don't be surprised if they take off in these sales. But this is quite a service, and there's several services, and these sales are coming up on the 11th through the 13th of February. We'll look at it more closely in the future, but just to get you a head start, go over and check it out. This lot here is estimated $30,000 to $50,000. It's 18th century, and it's a large set. It's not a complete service, I don't think. It's probably a partial service, part dinner service, because some of these services, people don't realize they would have 130 to 180 pieces in these large, when they were originally done, these big China trade dinner services. They had dozens of plates, dozens of, big platters, big round plates, meat platters, numerous tureens, tea services, the whole bit. It would come as part of the set. They were magnificent, and this is part of one. It's probably a third of an entire set, but it's very, very nice. And the last thing I want to mention is this: those are the Kangxi gin bottles. This is coming up over at Hutchinson Scott over in Skipton in the UK, and we see these square bottles turn up fairly often. But what's really interesting about these is they still have their lids, which is it almost never happens, and they're done in femi-ware, which is also very interesting. Yingkai decoration rather than wutsai or some other color palette. So you want to check that out. One of them looks like it has a little bit of wear around the top here. They probably both do. There's probably some fritting on the lid. Let's get over to where the lids are. Yeah, there's some fritting on the lid. There we go, which is normal. Don't be discouraged by that. It's astonishing that they have their lids at all. And you think about it, these sets that you've seen come up over the years, these pairs are usually they're singles, not even a pair of gin bottles. They would have just no lids. And when was the last time you saw one that had its covers? You may find them at top end China trade dealers in England and in the U.S. You may find them occasionally with lids, but generally they don't have them because very often they were turned into table lamps. Frankly, back in the 1920s and 30s. But these still have their lids. The landscapes on them are wonderfully painted. I like them a lot. The estimate is £2,000 to £3,000, which I think is pretty reasonable. £1,000 or $1,300 starting price is what they're asking. But if you've been looking for a pair of these, there's your chance to get them. We'll see how they do. They should do pretty well. But if you're in the U.S., of course, you're going to have the duty problem. They're 25 inches tall, which is 10 inches. So there you go. So that's sort of getting the year started. There's a lot has turned up, as you know, in the last, as you can see, just in the last week. And there's going to be more. I bet by Monday there'll be 5 or 10 more auctions popping up from different places. And I think there'll be sales coming in from the EU. We'll check the Antiques Gazette this weekend. Sometimes they have something in there. They've been on hiatus. They put out one copy. Those of you that on the Patreon side that read the Gazette each week over there, they published their last edition for the year prior to Christmas, and then they don't publish anything for about 2 weeks because they go on break, and now they're back. So we'll see what they publish this week. But there's going to be some sales coming up, and I think it's going to be a very good year. I'm hoping so for all categories of art and antiques: Chinese art, Japanese art, Korean art. Rugs and carpets and furniture from everywhere. Furniture from the U.S., furniture from England, furniture from France, and of course China and Japan and Asian furniture too. You want to own all of it. All right, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll be back next week. Subscribe here if you haven't, and we'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye.